Hello, I am Mani Malarvannan. In this video, we will look into Genius Act. In the last couple of weeks, we talked about stablecoins and what exactly stablecoin and what are all the different types of stablecoin. And in this video, we will look into the Genius Act that was passed by the US government, and we will go through the details, what exactly the Genius Act is going to do for everybody, both for the company or entity, those who are going to issue the stable coins, and for the consumers, what are all the different elements of Genius Act, and we can see what exactly it's going to do the crypto industry. So one of the main difference in the existing or the old non-legal stable coins versus right now the law has been created for the stable coin is to have any stable coin anybody is going to create within the US, it needs to have a proper backing. It's a one-to-one pegging, meaning if we are planning to issue one stable coin, then you need to have a $1 worth of money in the account. It could be either US dollar or US Treasury bill, whatever the either federal, US federal or state government approved collateral you need to have so that you can able to issue the stable coin. So this was the major difference in this law that has been created by the US government. So basically the entire process has started on July 18th, 2025, couple of weeks back, and then it went into a law on within couple of weeks. Both the state and Senate passed, and now the president signed into a law. And of course, it is not fully developed. So there are various elements needs to be worked upon, and that will US government will be adding those details into the law so that it's going to protect everybody, both the consumer and also the person who is going to issue the stable coin. We will get into the details, what exactly it's going to do for each one of the entity within the stable coin framework. The July 17th, the Senate passed the bill, and then on the same day, House also passed the Genius Act. And then on July 18th, it went into the president desk and the president signed into a law. So even though it is a law, it is not fully enforced until after some time. So that's because there need to have various elements that needs to be involved to implementing that law so that the companies, entities, those who are going to issue or those who have already issued the stable coin, they can able to follow the law and implement it for that. So they have until July 18th, 2028 to comply to this law. And also there will be a lot of changes that's going to happen because see, once the law is passed, that's only the law. How it's going to be implemented, how it needs to be interpreted, that takes time. So there will be a lot of changes how each entity is going to implement so that they can formalize the law, and that's going to govern everybody, those who are going to issue the stable currency within US. There are many provisions are there in this Genius Act. Let's go through each one of them. The first and foremost thing, the Genius Act defines it is only for the payment stable coin. There are multiple different definitions for the stable coin, but this one is the payment stable coin. They clearly created that, and also they removed it from the deposits or securities because, for example, if you have a US stock from a publicly traded company, then it comes under SEC, Securities and Deposit, and the rules will be completely different, and they need to go through a lot of legal framework to so that they can mandate that. So the one thing they want to do for the payment stable coin is they want to remove it from the deposits and securities so that they can create a separate law that's going to help and grow the stable coin industry within US and also all over the world, because once the US issues the stable coin, uh, law, then the other countries will follow and there will be a lot more demand from the consumers. And the second thing is permitted issuers. Who can issue stable coin? Not anybody, everybody can issue the stable coin. Previously, there was no law, so there were a lot of quite a few companies. They issued stable coins, and a lot of consumers bought it, but they couldn't hold, and finally they have to file bankruptcy or they closed it. So they want to make sure that whoever is going to create stable coin, there should be legal framework for them so that consumers know who are all permitted issuers for the stable coin. So only the bank approved subsidiaries can issue stable coin, or OCC chartered non-banks or the certified state issuers can able to issue stable coin. If you, anybody can qualify, if you want to qualify, if you want to go through the process, then you need to go understand the legal framework and you need to go through the process to certify yourself so that you can issue the stable coin. And the third and critical item in this law is the reserve backing. Previously, the companies can able to create stable coin without proper legal framework. But now, if you are going to issue, say, 100 stable coins, then you need to have $100 backing. In some cases, you have to have more than $100 in a federal bank or in a state-owned bank, or you need to have some other type of collateral that is approved by either the federal government, US federal government or state government, so that you can able to create that many number of stable coins. That's the reason in the beginning I mentioned it's a one-to-one pegging, meaning that if you are going to issue 1,000 stable coins, then you need to have $1,000 value in your bank so that you can able to create it. And also you need to have a third party continuously monitoring and making sure that you have the $1,000, that whatever number of stable coins you can able to create it. And there will be multiple audits, independent parties, they are going to validate and making sure that you are creating the total number of stable coins that for the amount that you already have it under your credit. And from the consumer protection, in case of issues, see, just because the stable legal framework is created for a stable coin, not everything is going to well. Sometimes the entities, those who are issuing the stable coin, may file bankruptcy, may go of other things. In that case, their first priority is to make sure that they give the consumers, like people, all of us, to the stable coin whatever they own. Say if you own 50 stable coin, then before they do anything with the money that they have, they need to make sure that they give you the $50, the worth of stable coin that you have, and then they can go and do other things. Because sometimes companies, whenever they file bankruptcy, whatever the money they have, they'll try to give it to their own people, or they will try to give it to the big companies and banks, but that's not the case. So they have clearly specified what exactly they have the legal obligation before even they can start issuing the stable coin so that the consumers are protected. And also the same legal framework applicable for anybody, those who are going to issue. Any entity or a company outside of US can also issue stable coin. For those entities or companies, they need to follow the same rules and regulations that are followed by the companies, those who are going to issue stable coin, those who are physically present within US. For example, if a entity or a company within India wants to get into this business, they can do so. But for if they want to do it, they have to follow the same procedures and the legal framework that is being created within the Genius Act. Again, I don't know whether the Indian government is going to allow anybody to create a stable coin within India. But if they want, if the Indian government allows, then they can create. Same way in Singapore, Switzerland, any part of the world, anyone can create, but they all have to follow the same Genius Act. And another important thing is classification and the timeline. The timeline is 2028. So there are still 3 more years for companies to go and make sure that they implement all the procedures and processes created within the legal framework. And there are three main categories of stakeholders that this Genius Act attracts and provides security and legal framework. The first thing, issuers. So there is a clear pathway for federal charter and federal master accounts. What these two means is that if an issuer wants to create stable coin, then they need to have a bank account open in any one of the federal banks within US. They need to have that so that they can able to have that money created for the total number of stable coins they are going to create within their blockchain network. And also higher compliance cost via audits and capital reporting. The issuers, they need to make sure that they need to follow the legal framework, and they need to make sure that the third party auditing happens however many times within a year, so that everybody, consumers and the issuer, can be protected. And also legal certainty, there is a legal certainty it creates, so that needs to be taken care. Say for example, anytime a issuer is going to create, there are a lot of rules and regulation that's going to change how it's going to be implemented. So the issuer needs to make sure that they understand, they follow the standards. If there are any changes, they need to implement it within the time period that is allowed within the framework. And for the consumers, they can be assured that if they buy a stable coin from a legal provider, then their investment is safeguarded. That's not the case previously. As I said earlier, there are multiple companies, they file bankruptcy or they ran away with the money. So all those are not possible, because your protection, if you buy $50 worth of stable coin, that is protected within the legal framework, so that you can always get back the money. And for the consumers, you can also see the issuer goes through the transparent disclosures every quarter. They have to make sure that they have to release their audit report, third party audit report. It's not their internal audit. So they need to make sure that the third party independent auditors audit and make sure that however many number of total coins, total stable coins they issued, they need to make sure that that much amount of money, either dollar or some other security bill, they have for the collateral, so that they can follow the law and make sure that the consumer interests are protected. And once the consumer have this stable coin, then the stable coin can be used in any type of transactions. If you need to know more about what are the different types of transaction that can happen, please go and see our previous videos. We talked about what are all the different types of transaction that can happen once the stable coin is being used by customers for day-to-day transaction. And for the industry, the entire legalization makes the adaptability even more easier. So now any individual can participate in the stablecoin, and because of that, more and more people are going to come, more and more business can able to adopt stablecoin, and there will be a lot more interest on a whole. It is going to grow the crypto industry a lot more faster than in the last 5-10 years. And there are some challenges and criticism that already exist. Again, the law is new, but still, no law is 100% foolproof. There are issues, but those issues will be addressed in the coming days. But for now, you can understand these three types of issues. You need to make sure you understand. It only favors the large banks, because to create stable coin, you need to have a account with the federal bank. Not anybody can account with the federal bank. You need to have certain amount of investment. You need to have certain amount of assets so that you can able to have interaction. You can have accounts with the bank. So that's one of the main criticism they have. So because of that, smaller companies or startups, they cannot get into stablecoin easily. And there is a systematic risk, it still remains, even though there is a safeguard is being created for individual customer. So the company, the entity, those who are issuing the stable coin may file bankruptcy. They may not have enough cash because some issue that happened within that network. Somebody stole large volume of stable coin because of some security risk. Then there is a issue, and the consumer needs to make sure they understand before they are purchasing any type of stable coin. And also the unresolved access, this is another thing. As I said earlier, not anybody can, everybody can have access to the federal procedures and federal government access so that they can able to create the stable coins. So that is the main criticism they have it. So the only the large banks they can have, but if we are a startup, if we are a small entity, it's going to be difficult for the small company to create stable coins. Even if they want to follow, there are a lot of legal procedures, legal frameworks they need to make sure so that they can able to successfully start the stable coin industry. But I hope these issues will be addressed in the implementation so that innovation can happen. If small startups cannot get into the stablecoin business, then once again the main issue comes in. Only the large corporation, large banks can access it. And the main nature of blockchain is the decentralization. But if that doesn't happen, then once again the big banks will control it, and big banks can able to increase the transaction fee if they're going to use the blockchain. See, if there is a innovation needs to happen, then anybody should be able to issue the stable coin. Anybody meaning they all have to follow the rules and regulations. But because the small companies are going to get into this business, then there is going to be a lot more innovation happen. The transaction fee comes down and more consumers participate. Like that, it keeps growing. The next steps is the rule making. There are still time for everybody to understand and implement in their blockchain network so that they can follow what needs to be done in the next couple of years that's going to happen. And industry preparation, the industry has needs to prepare so that they can able to follow the rules and regulations that are created within the Genius Act. And also the Genius Act is only the high level, it's not the full implementation. So there will be questions and concerns, those things will be addressed, and then ultimately everything will be addressed, and then it will be created a secure, proper framework for everybody to participate. Thereby, the stablecoin industry would thrive. And there are discussions going on among the federal entities and the stablecoin issuers. They are drafting the law. My only concern is they need to make sure that any small entity company should be able to get into it and start the stablecoin industry. Thereby, the new innovation happens because once the big banks, if they own all the stablecoin, then it's not, there won't be much innovation happens, and they can increase the transaction fee. If small companies are getting in through that innovation, they can able to reduce the transaction fee, and more people can be interacting with the stable coin for their day-to-day transaction. So uh, so that's all I want to discuss in this video. So there are many changes are happening, and always find out if you need to know more informations. We have a blog posted in our blog site. You can go to analyticket.com, search for Genius Act. You can able to read through. We will keep updating as the change happens in the US government, so that you all can understand what exactly happening in the stablecoin industry. Thanks for the time you spent with me today, and I hope you learned Genius Act. If you have any questions or concerns, any specific topic, go to our YouTube video, post the comment, or send us an email. We'll be happy to help you. And we have a analytic platform that goes to the Ethereum blockchain, and you can able to view the stable coin, any stable coin that are already exist, or those who are going to issue in blockchain, in Ethereum blockchain. You can use our SaaS platform to view how well the stable coin is doing, because before you purchasing, you want to make any stable coin, you want to make sure that how the stable coin is being adapted by the other people, how many transactions are happening in every day, what is the volume, all those informations you need to do before you can purchase the stable coin, because there are a lot of stable coin is going to be available. So you need to make sure that you are getting into the one that has been well established, that's been around for a long time, so that your investment will be protected. And on final disclaimer, I'm not supporting any particular stable coin. I'm just here for educational purposes. Please do your own research and talk to your financial analyst before you purchase any stable coin. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Bye.